has observed anything in nature that naturally becomes more complex by itself? Anybody? It defies, and the law of entropy simply says that. It says, people, we have noticed that nature randomizes and decays. Yeah, okay, we know that. We put some math around it, that's fine. And the opposite is true. Intelligence creates complexity and organizes. So organization and order rises out of a mind, and nature left to itself decays. Everything that has design has a designer. Does the universe have a design? Look at the tuning of life on Earth. Just some data. We have the perfect atmospheric transparency to allow just the right amount of solar radiation into the Earth. Little more, say goodbye. Little less, and say goodbye as well. Okay? I picked this example for Joy since she's learning scientific notation. The Earth-Sun gravitational interaction. They did studies on the Earth-Sun gravitational interaction, right? We go around the sun while we're turning, right? We're going around the sun. And that creates the seasons, and depending on where you are relative to the circumference of the Earth, you have different range of weather, etc., right? We keep going around every year, around. Do you know what it would take in shift of that cycle, of that elliptical cycle? What percent shift would destroy life? Take a guess. What percent shift would destroy life? 5%? 1%? 0.01? If it was 0.01, what is that? That's 1 in 10,000, right? Likelihood, right? Or a shift that 1 10,000th of the distance from the sun shift. No? It's actually a lot less than that. This is what it is. They ran these models, and this is what they concluded. 0. %. If it budges that much, we're dead. So for scientific notation, Joy, that's 1 to 10 to the minus 38%. Okay? Is that crazy or what? I feel like if I jump too high, I might mess it up. Right? Just jog it enough and like, whoa, that's too sensitive. Keeps going. Is that not design? I don't know. We talk about, as an engineer, I talk about tolerances. You know what a tolerance is? Steve Jobs was legendary about this. He was so particular about tolerances. Tolerances is the consistency of a dimension through manufacturing. So in other words, one iPhone from another one shouldn't shift very much. His tolerances were like in the 0.1%. The universe has design. The universe is perfectly, and the earth is perfectly tuned. Number 2, living beings have an incomprehensible, spectacular design. Okay? The little exposure I got to the world of, that you guys live in, medicine, in my graduate work when I was doing some biochemistry and some physiology and all this stuff, I was just blown away. I'm like, here's some data, again, sorry, the engineering view on this. A Boeing 747, okay? One of the most complex things human beings build, okay? Do you know how many parts, unique, unbreakable parts, go into the making of Boeing 747? How many parts? How much? Go up? Go up? How much? not bad, not bad. Cut it in half. 6 million. 6 million. 6 million parts.
I think we need to report Johnny to this work and get him fired.
Well, it depends. Does he work for a tier 1 supplier, a tier 2, or the actual OEM, or? So now, so do you agree? If somebody, if I took any child to the airport and I said, hey, David, check this out. That plane just came out of the earth. Like, are you an engineer for real? That doesn't happen. Now, as elaborate and incredible as a Boeing 747 is, one of the most incredible feats of human design, by the way, inspired by what? Birds, the wing of a bird and the curvature and how we create low pressure above the wing versus below it. We didn't even really, basic things we discovered from the way God designed the world. Now, let's do a comparison with a human being. No, hold on. No way. Where do we start? How do I even break down a human being? Let's go down a level. Can we go to the heart? Still too much. Let's go down a level. Can we go to a cell? A muscle cell within the heart? Still too complex for us to compare. Wouldn't be fair. Let's go down to the nucleus. Far too complex. Way too complex to compare to a Boeing. Are you kidding me? Let's go down to the 46 chromosomes. Do you know how many nucleotides are in a single chromosome? Nucleotides, which is the ATP, right? That sequence, that coding, right? That defines the amino acids that can get to. How many nucleotides? I'm trying to get a comparison of parts, okay? That's what I'm trying to do. How many? 14 Close. Go higher. But in my trying to do the calculations and doing some reading, 70 million. 70 million. So a chromosome is 10 times more complex than a Boeing. We're being generous because those nucleotides are complex themselves chemically. We're being generous. Now, can you look in the mirror and tell me you just happened? This is the most marvelous. And we haven't even talked about human emotion, personality, existential questions. Dr. Francis Collins was he was not a believer, and he was assigned the Genome Project under President Bill Clinton. We were talking about this earlier. He's published a book called The Language of God. In his study of the human genome, he said there is absolutely no question scientifically, that there is a designer God and he is the God of Scripture. And he made us. And he considers the genetic code God's language of life, natural life. The universe has a design. Unquestionable, glorious design. And humanity, the centerpiece of God's creation, is beyond comprehension. Beyond comprehension. You know, I was kidding with Joy and Daniel. I said one day, imagine if we could design a car that you have an accident and just fixes itself. We do that all the time. Cut us, break us, throw us around. We heal. Just, I mean, marvelous, marvelous stuff. The universe and its centerpiece, the human being, has a design. Therefore, we can say the universe has a designer God. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them. Wadia, can you close for us in prayer?